Namaskaram. I hope I've got it right. I've been practicing, but not too sure if I got it right. But good evening and thank you very much. It's a huge room. I'm a bit nervous to talk about something which I'm not the best at. And I'm going to talk about something which is nothing to do with the market. So there was a gentleman who spoke about equity markets. We had somebody speaking about gold, telling you why that's the best asset class. I'm not going to talk about any of those things. I'm going to talk about something which will cover the three mottos which we have, which is we need to innovate, we need to partner, and then eventually grow. So if we were to look at all three, something which is going to help us in terms of us partnering with it, which is part of the innovation which is happening in the industry, and I do think that will help us to grow much faster than what we are doing today. So it's a debatable part in terms of artificial intelligence, impact on MF industry, and this I'm going to cover from both sides. I'm going to talk about from asset managers, which is people like us, what do we do and what do we think is going to help us do in future, and I'm going to talk touch about what it can do for people like you, and if you were to take your organization to the next level, what are the things which ideally we think you need to imbibe when it comes to artificial intelligence. So let's start off with a basic definition. Now it's a lot of word written here. Broadly speaking, if I was to ask people in this room and ask which is one of the most common artificial intelligence tool which most of us use nowadays, if anybody can shout out, it will be good. ChatGPT is something which I hear. Yeah, so there are many. So ChatGPT is what I could hear. Let me just start off on that part. So what does ChatGPT do? What Google cannot. Okay, so Google, we type, gives you a search. ChatGPT does a search with something more, right? And that something more is done by, not by somebody sitting behind and coding it, but something which comes naturally to this program. And that's what is the artificial intelligence part of it, which effectively trying to replace some part of human brain that you don't have to think, the machine will think for you and deliver what you are asking for. So in some cases, if your question is not right, the answer is also not right, because they are going to be not thinking as intelligently as a human being does, but it thinks very close to what a human does. So one of the big factors which an AI is kind of getting used from the mutual fund industry is based on some of the parameters of what artificial intelligence is actually doing. To start off with, first thing, it recognizes a pattern. So what does an artificial intelligence do is that, okay, you are going to one specific website every day, or you're going to two different kinds of purchases every day. It collects that data over a long period of time and then puts you into a bucket that you are this kind of a human being. So past data patterns is something, it predicts the future. The second part bases this part of what your future, the past has been, defines how you will behave in the future, and same thing would be applicable from a market perspective, from a business perspective, and so on and so forth. So it's something which is based on data, past data, a lot of data, and not just one or two data points. I'm making it a bit sound maybe simplistic. It's not that simple, but it gives you some kind of an indication how the behavior is going to be in future. Talking about a few more things in terms of what it helps you to do is helps you to make some informed decision, and basis that informed decision we can take our action. And also it helps in terms of communicating in different forms and shapes. In fact, yesterday when I was watching television, there was one program, and this is a channel which I don't see, but that was the only channel available on that television, that is called as Doordarshan. I don't know how many people see Doordarshan any longer, but I had to see it yesterday. But it was interesting, and I continue to see it because it was talking about artificial intelligence. And it is, so there was an IIM professor and he was talking about in terms of one software program which has been kind of driven by the Indian government. I forgot the name they were talking about, where if you talk in any language, the machine will convert into whichever language you want to hear at the other end. So from a communication perspective, and that's the point which I'm trying to make, this machine helps communicate far better because it can decipher a lot of information and generate an output which is extremely fast. So moving from what it was, I'm going to talk about what are the use cases, which means where is it currently getting used, and this is something which has already started happening. I'm not talking about this is going to be in future. This is something which is currently being done in the world, some part of it followed by HSBC asset management worldwide. Some of these may not be, but eventually a lot of asset management will start using this as their strength. To start with, automation being one of the big pieces. And when I say automation, is you today give money to asset management companies for what reason? You give your customers money so that we can manage their money better, right? And today when you have so much of information coming through, for fund managers, for analysts, it is very, very difficult to collate all the information and put it together in one place. Even if they were to read, there is a human capacity to how much you can read. You can read probably 10 balance sheets, you can read probably 50 news articles, but when you look at an automation done through AI, it reads through, scans through millions of gigabytes of data in a very, very short period of time, and that's what is getting kind of used. So automation insight in terms of earnings transcript. So what is an earnings transcript? When a fund manager is investing into a company, they are trying to understand what are the fundamentals of the company, and the company gives a quarterly report and they talk about that report. So there are few things in that company which is beyond the simple P&L and balance sheet which the management talks about. And AI helps us to pick up all that communication and put it in a concise manner, which gives you an output which is far more easier for you to understand and give consistent messages which have been given by the company. The other relationship mapping, which is we just saw two presentations which were talking about relationship between various asset classes. Generally, we typically look at relationships which are very easily understandable. So if I was to tell people right now, if interest rates to go down, what should happen to equity markets, generally speaking? The answer is that when the interest rates go down, generally the markets tend to go higher on the equity side because the cost of capital coming down helps the earnings ratios and so on and so forth. So these are some basic ratios which all of us know. But through AI, it is basically able to derive a non-intuitive relationship as well. So is there a relationship between crops grown in Kerala to sale of coffee in another part of the country? I don't have an answer to it. I'm just simply giving completely two non-correlated items. AI helps us to find those correlationships by doing multiple past data correlationships which are there. It also helps us to see the growth opportunities. And when I'm talking about all these things, one of the things which is very, very critical is that what AI is doing is not just the job what we can do. They are not replacing our jobs, but what it is trying to do is it is trying to do faster the job which we tend to do, and hence helps us or assists us to do a far better output in a much shorter period of time. As you know, our industry is hyper competitive, right? So if my funds do not perform, most of you all in this room would not like me to be standing here, right? And you will not like your customers giving me money. And to be competitive, a lot of investment managers are trying to now build into this facilitation so that they are better prepared, they are far more equipped, and that's going to be a reality going forward. Similarly, if I was to look at from a client outreach, which is whether I'm reaching you or I'm reaching the client, I think there is a lot of work already started and something which you are already started experiencing. Say for example, the chat bot of CAMS, if any one of you all have used, is something in conjunction with that AI, but it's a very simplistic AI which has been put in where you have pre-populated questions, responses will come in terms of those questions which are there. But it's one of the ways of communicating, and there is far more detailed study which is being done and far more advanced communication which will be very, very customizable, which is coming through, which eventually makes customers feel far more comfortable with that asset management company. If I have to look at, this was from investment and communication perspective, but I think the largest work which is getting done is in the mid office part, which is the operations part. And I think there a lot of AI is facilitating in terms of building ease of transaction, conveniences, and some of the things which have been put up here. So one, from a customer perspective, when he's coming to a mutual fund industry, obviously they would like their things to be moving as smoothly as possible. The second part, from an asset manager, when they are getting so much of money, and people have been talking about in the first presentation from the gentleman from Birla Asset Management did mention that there is so much of money or cash which is sitting in the mutual fund industry, somewhere close to 2 lakh crores. When you have that kind of money, the responsibility lies with us in terms of we don't mess up. And when we don't mess up, one of the big functions is the risk function. That when you are getting money, is your portfolio too risky? If some of the events were happening, how would your portfolio react? I think that risk management tool is kind of very, very well adapted through the AI route, because it then starts throwing up alerts basis past data, because what some of the things which human beings can miss in terms of correlationship, AI helps us to do that. So that is another big area where risk, I think in terms of managing risk within the portfolio, is becoming a very large part of it. Some of the other parts which is used for our internal purposes. Today, for an asset management company, all of you all would agree, people are a big contributor to the success of the asset management company. We are all in a people's business. Your relationship with your client is because you are good with the client. It's not because your company is giving you something or you have a brand which got built in by somebody else. You are the brand yourself. And when it's a people's business, it's important for companies to know what is the sentiment of those employees, behavior of employees in the way they are interacting, in terms of way their emails are being sent across, the way they communicate with each other. Some of these things get captured in a very big way, which sends out the sentiment of the organization, which plays a very key role from an HR perspective. So while I'm talking about linking asset management performance to mid-office, to customer communication, to our employee sentiment, a lot of these areas, we are seeing a use of AI, and this is a reality and something which you should not be worried about. In fact, try and adapt to and accept that AI is going to become a reality. And AI, when it becomes a reality, actually eases our jobs rather than taking away our jobs. One of the biggest problems today, including myself, I come from a generation where there was no computer, or if there was computer, then there was one computer which was shared by 40 students in that college, and we had to go to a special room to take a printout. To today, every person in this room has a smartphone. If not one, there will be probably far many more, and you could be communicating with anybody in the world in a click of a button, which wasn't the situation earlier. So for me also to adapt or accept any new technology is a very tough one. But way things are looking, I think it is making our life far more efficient. And that's where it is going to bring me to the case studies why we should be looking at AI even from your business perspective. And I'll come to that. But before I come to that piece, I just thought it's a busy slide, but kind of try to summarize in areas where we think AI can play a very big role. One, obviously from an investment side, I said it covers a lot of data and helps you to kind of get through the entire landscape and give you an information in a concise form very, very quickly. To the other part, which is enhancing the experience for the customer, which is with the other spectrum, because your customer communication can get customized, so on and so forth. To reducing cost by bringing in efficiencies in your operations and risk management. Because if you today were to look at risk management and the amount of money which this industry manages, which is almost 70 lakh crore, if we were to have humans running the entire risk management framework basis various parameters, we will need probably more than the number of people which are sitting in this room just to do the risk management job. AI helps us to reduce that workforce and do it far more accurately. So these are the areas which asset management are currently kind of looking at. Now let's come to the AI from a distribution perspective, and I thought I'll spend some time on this part. If we were to look at the way we are doing business today, I'm not saying any of us doing business and being successful are doing in any wrong manner. But if we were to fast forward our life and journey in the next 10 years' time, I think there is a lot of work which will need to get done from our end to make our life simpler. So there are people sitting in this room which has got 100, 200, 300, probably even 500 crores of assets. And we today will be managing, say, anywhere between 100 to 2,000 customers. When we reach that kind of a situation, typically the way we try and address it is we add more and more people. Sometimes adding more people doesn't necessarily make it more productive, but we have to look at alternates in terms of how we can do things. So there are 4 or 5 areas where we can get some facilitation from AI, and just try to put it very simply, what are the pieces where we think we can use it. First, from a product offering perspective. Today, while we are talking to our customers saying that, okay, these are the 5 preferred fund houses for me and these are the 10 schemes which are preferred for me, we can tailor make that to a limited set of people. But moment you move into AI and basis the AI, basis the experience of the customer and their behavior, the AI will be able to then try and give us some kind of an input. What is the kind of asset allocation or what is the kind of product offering we should make as a pitch to this individual? And sometimes it could be crazy that it can happen even before we get that customer on board, because there will be a lot of information today available. So if anybody who is on Instagram, and I'm quite sure all of you all are, today you speak a word and the next day you open your Instagram, it pops something which is related to that word, right? What is it? There is a huge engine of AI which is working behind it, and then after that, whatever ad comes in is linked to that. So if you can customize to that level, great. Personalized client experience is a connection to that. I think the next 2 part is something which is very important. How much can we automate on the operation side? Today, I was just sharing this with my colleague Rajesh, who's sitting here. If I have to look at the brokerage structure of an asset management company, I am only working for one asset management company. And if you were to look at your own sheet where you will be working at least with 10 asset management company for the last 10 years, there will be at least 1,000 brokerage structures which you would have received till now. And you can never collate that and never know what the actual brokerage you are supposed to receive, right? This part can be automated and helped through various tools. And lastly, customer retention surely is a big piece. I'll just like to end by giving this slide as to what are the areas which are still in development, and hence not everything which I'm talking about is perfect today. There is a lack of transparency how the AI runs. So what you get as an output, it is not necessarily the perfect output, and hence we should be worried about. The second, I think there is over-reliance on data. Sometimes over-relying on data kills the essence, and here I would say past information not necessarily always can 100% predict the future. So it has to be taken with some bit of a caution here. And there are two other pieces which is regulatory stroke ethical as an issue which can hurt us. There is a lot of data which is kind of getting pulled out of you without you even realizing. So there is an ethical issue there. How much of that will kind of get questioned on as we move forward? So there is a DPDPA, which is the act which is coming into India and soon to be implemented. It's already kind of the law has been cast, but these are some of the areas which we should be kind of be worried about. But overall, it is something which will always help us to grow faster, better. And rather than thinking about how is it going to hurt us, it's important how do we use it to make us more efficient and grow to the next level. So in conclusion, despite AI revolution, we can stay away from it for a while, but you will not be able to stay from it permanently. Make part of it. It will be good for both asset managers and so asset managers like HSBC have started using some part of it. We have not got it completely as we are worried about the output of it at 100%. But yeah, surely we are moving towards that direction, and it's good people like you also start adopting to it. We cannot say, okay, this is the right product for you, but overall it's changing, but something which we should always keep in mind. So with that, I would like to thank you for your patience and hope this was fruitful for you. And thank you for your attention.
Any questions? One question we can take. We have time for taking one question. Anybody? Any questions?
If there are no questions, I'll be happier.
Pardon?
Replace. So can it replace fund managers? There is a lot of work which is done by mathematicians and statisticians worldwide who surely use various parameters to come up with the best output. Can it replace? See, as I said, one of the downside is people don't. So when you look at pure data, sometimes it doesn't cover certain software issues. For example, if you are talking about ROEs, ROCs of certain companies without looking into the management part of it, which is a software issue, that AI would not be able to. Can it assist fund managers to eliminate certain companies? The answer is yes. In terms of pure data, you put in a data which has for certain caveats, it will filter out from 500 companies to 100 companies, and you can then reduce your work to do it. Can it replace an MFD? Surely it cannot. I tell you why. And not because I'm sitting in this room. First and foremost, the customer doesn't know that they want to buy something. We have to force them to buy. Investment is the last priority for anybody. It's never the first priority. The second piece, at the end of the day, things will go wrong at some point in time. And AI will not help you to solve that problem. AI will not come and say, okay, sorry, the market has gone down. Now don't worry, it will go up someday. Right? They need somebody's shoulder to put that blame onto, and you are the one who will they put the blame on, for which we all get paid our commissions for, not for these good days. We are getting commission is paid for the bad days when it will come in, when they will come and blame you, even if the decision was taken by them, but they need somebody to blame. So I don't think AI is replacing that. AI is replacing the job like which is the fund I should buy. AI is replacing how do I check my brokerages which are correct or wrong. AI is solving the problem that I want to have a data for a certain thing. Can I pick that up and collect that and put it together? So don't worry, AI is not replacing us for many years. It's just that we need to be aware what's happening in the industry. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ankur. Wonderful presentation. A new topic. Everybody is keen to learn AI, which is going to be the future. So, quickly summarizing what Ankur has spoken. Ankur started with telling us what exactly is artificial intelligence for people like us to understand. The suite of technologies enabled by predictive power and exhibiting some degree of autonomous learning that dramatically advances our ability to recognize patterns, anticipate future events, create good rules and make good decisions and communicate with other people. He also spoke on uses of AI. He had put up a case on uses of AI in investment management, especially it helps in portfolio management and client enablement. Automated insights can be developed using data. Relationship mapping, alternative data sets can be monitored using AI, and client outreach it can be used. Then he also spoke about how it can be used in front, middle and back office for more efficiency. Like it can create operations intelligence, it can monitor risk related stuff for reporting and servicing, and on-demand reporting by enabling chat boards and all, and it can also use to manage employees, risk management levels, etc. And lastly, he spoke about AI for mutual funds. It helps you to enhance data analysis, and he also spoke about the last and most important part, AI for distributors. He specifically spoke about it can help you to enhance your product offerings by understanding your client details better using AI. You can also personalize your client experience by understanding the past behavioral patterns and trying to offer better things. He also spoke about improved customer retention and enhancing operational efficiency. That is the 4-5 things how distributors can use AI. The last he closed with issues with respect to AI. In that he spoke about over-reliance on data. It's purely a data-driven thing. Ethical and regulatory issues he spoke about, and the regulatory landscape is still evolving. Thanks a lot. It was a wonderful eye-opener for a lot of us on this new topic, AI. So you may call.
Thank you. Well, AIFA is also not too far from AI. You must have all received a WhatsApp message giving you a QR code where AIFA is trying to embrace AI through face recognition. If you have done that, whatever photographs where you are present, it will be detected through the AI algorithm, and you will be getting it directly delivered into your mailbox. Even now the time is not too late. You can go to the gentleman sitting on the right side of the LED screen. He can also help you as to how to do that. That was wonderful, Ankur. And can we have Mr. Basant, Secretary of AIFA Calicut Chapter, to present a token of our appreciation to Mr. Ankur. In the meanwhile, can we have Mr. Rajesh Babu, Regional Head, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, to kindly join Mr. Ankur on stage. Also requesting Mr. Tony Maman, Vice President and Branch Manager, Cochin of HSBC. Mr. Sanju Lal, Vice President and Branch Manager from Trivandrum of HSBC. Anandu from Kochi, Relationship Manager, and Ebin from Kochi again to kindly join Ankur ji, the entire team of HSBC on stage for you. Can we have Basant?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please put in your hands together for Mr. Ankur for that wonderful presentation on artificial intelligence and usage of AI and how it's going to affect all of us.